The old man had not said his name. He had not asked for anything. He had simply sat across from a hungry boy and watched him eat bread like it was the most important thing he had ever witnessed. Elijah Monroe was 10 years old. He had been alone for 11 days. He had not told anyone. He had not asked anyone for help. He had no idea who was sitting across from him. This is what happened the Tuesday before he found out. It happened at 2:17 on a Tuesday afternoon on the corner of Chestnut and East 105th Street in East Cleveland, Ohio. Elijah was walking slowly. He had learned to walk slowly, to conserve energy the way you conserve a phone battery when there is no charger. When he heard it, the soft, specific sound of a paper bag giving way at the bottom. Campbell's tomato soup hit the sidewalk first, then a loaf of bread, then a half-gallon of whole milk spinning toward the curb. He did not think. He moved. 3 seconds. He caught the milk, grabbed the bread, picked up both soup cans, stood up with everything against his chest. An old man in a long gray coat was looking at him, not with surprise. That was the first thing Elijah noticed. Most adults looked at him with surprise when they noticed him at all. This man looked at him the way you look at something you recognize. "Have you eaten today?" the old man asked. Elijah said yes. The old man said, "I know." Then, "There is a place on the next block called Anna's. It belongs to a woman named Margaret who has been making the same chicken soup since 1987. Come and sit with me." Not a question, not quite an order. The tone of a man who had learned that some invitations need to sound like facts to be accepted. Elijah followed him. He did not know why, except that nobody had looked at him that directly in 11 days. And he was very, very hungry. And the bread against his chest had smelled like something like being taken care of, a feeling so old he almost did not recognize it. Anna's was 1 block away, 4 minutes to walk there. Those 4 minutes were the last 4 minutes of the life Elijah Monroe had been living. He did not know that yet. He just knew the old man walked slowly and did not fill the silence, and that for the first time in 11 days, the silence felt like company. Anna's restaurant had been on Chestnut Street since 1987. The woman behind the counter was named Margaret Osai Bonsu. She had a face that did not perform warmth. It simply had it. She looked up when the door opened. She looked at the old man. She looked at Elijah. She said nothing. She went to the kitchen. The old man chose a table by the window. He removed his gloves 1 finger at a time and looked at Elijah as if they had an appointment. "Sit," he said. Elijah sat. A bread basket arrived without being ordered. Steam rose from it in slow curls. "Go ahead," the old man said. Elijah picked up a piece of bread. He held it for 1 second before he ate it. Just 1 second. The way someone holds something they have been waiting for without letting themselves know they were waiting. The old man watched him eat. He did not look away. He did not pretend not to notice. He simply watched, with the full, undivided attention of someone who understood that the most useful thing you can do in the presence of hunger is witness it without flinching. When Elijah had finished the soup, Margaret appeared with rice and chicken nobody had ordered. "Harold's tab," she said, and went back to the counter. Harold. That was the first piece. "How long?" Harold asked. 11 days, Elijah said. Harold nodded, like this was information he was adding to something he already understood. "Your mother?" he asked. "She works at Cleveland Clinic." Elijah said. She left for a shift and she didn't come back. I didn't call anyone because we stay together. That's what she always says. Whatever happens, we figure it out together. So I've been figuring it out. Harold looked at him for a long time. You have, he said. You've been doing it very well. Elijah had not expected that. He looked down at the plate. Something in his shoulders, something he had been holding up by force for 11 days, came down. Just slightly. Just enough to notice. When Harold excused himself, Margaret appeared at the table. She placed a folded napkin in front of Elijah. Inside, a plain white business card. One name, one number. Area code 216. He comes in here sometimes, she said, with young people. What happens to them? Elijah asked. Margaret picked up the empty bread basket. They call the number, she said. She went back to the counter. Elijah put the card in his pocket. He did not call that night. He went back to the stairwell at 4417 Prospect Avenue. He lay in the dark with the card in his hand, thinking about what Margaret had said. All of them. And why that scared him almost as much as the cold. If you are new here, this channel tells stories that most people are afraid to tell out loud. Hit subscribe so you never miss one. Before we go further, drop a comment right now and tell me where you are watching from. New York, Texas, Ohio, California, anywhere in the world. I want to know who is in this room with us tonight. He called on the third day, not because he had changed his mind about trusting it, but because the temperature dropped to 19 degrees, and because he needed to know who Harold E. Whitaker really was. What he found on that library computer changed everything he thought he understood about kindness. The library on East 131st was warm and open at 9 and did not require anything of him except quiet. He sat at the computer in the back corner and typed the name from the card. Harold E. Whitaker, Forbes, Bloomberg, Wikipedia. Harold Edward Whitaker, born 1943, Cambria County, Pennsylvania. Founder and former CEO of Whitaker Industrial Holdings. Net worth estimated at $2.3 to $4.1 billion. Elijah sat back. He looked at the ceiling. He looked back at the screen. He scrolled past the board memberships, past the honorary degrees, past the photograph of Harold shaking hands with someone in a room with very high ceilings. He stopped at a paragraph near the bottom, a magazine profile, 12 years old, a journalist who had spent 3 days following Harold through what she called his real life. Harold walked unknown neighborhoods on purpose, had been doing it for 40 years, carried his own groceries, ate at places like Anna's, and tipped more than the meal cost, and never told anyone his name. The journalist had asked him why. Harold had said, I spent too many years forgetting what it felt like to be hungry. Walking is how I remember. The journalist had asked when he had last been truly hungry. Harold had said one sentence. Elijah read it 3 times. Then he closed the browser. He sat in the library for 20 minutes without moving. Outside the window, the Cleveland sky was flat and gray and not planning to change. He took the card from his pocket. He thought about the sentence. He thought about 19 degrees. He thought about his mother. He called. Grace answered on the second ring. She gave him an address on Fairmount Boulevard in Cleveland Heights. She said, there is a guest room with a door that locks from the inside. Harold wants you to know that specifically. That night, Elijah slept for the first time in 11 days. Two things happened while he was sleeping. The first was Harold making a phone call. The second was 243 miles away in Columbus, Ohio, and it changed everything. Harold was in his study when Elijah came downstairs the next morning. He had not slept much. He looked like a man who had been sitting with something for a long time. "Sit down," he said. He told Elijah everything about his mother first. Ohio State Wexner Medical Center in Columbus, a brain aneurysm on her way to work, the platform at East 55th Street Station, 17 days in a medically induced coma. "She woke up last night," Harold said. "The first word she said was your name." The room was completely quiet. Then Harold placed an envelope on the desk, his mother's handwriting. "Elijah, for if I am not home." "I have not opened it," Harold said. "It is yours." But Elijah was not ready for the envelope yet. He was thinking about something else, about a sentence in a magazine article he had read 3 times in a library. "The article," Elijah said, "about why you walk neighborhoods. You said there was a sentence about when you were hungry." Harold looked at him. Then he said, "There was a woman in Johnstown, Pennsylvania named Mrs. Kowalski who kept an apple tree in her backyard. I was 9 years old. My father had been gone for 2 years. My mother worked nights at the hospital laundry and days at a dry cleaning shop on Main Street, and there was never enough. I walked past that apple tree every day for a week thinking about stealing one. The day I finally decided to do it, Mrs. Kowalski came out carrying a bag of apples and dropped the whole thing down her front steps. Apples everywhere. I picked every one of them up." He was quiet for a moment. "She fed me lunch, bologna sandwich, chicken noodle soup, chocolate milk. She called my mother at the dry cleaning shop. My mother cried for 45 minutes. I could hear her from the kitchen. She was not crying because she was embarrassed. She was crying because someone had seen what she could not fix alone. That is what she told me later. Someone finally saw us." Elijah did not say anything. "Mrs. Kowalski died in 1987, Harold said. "I spent 30 years looking for her name. I sent flowers to the funeral home in Johnstown. I wrote a letter to her daughter. Her daughter wrote back." He reached into the inside pocket of his coat. He placed a folded piece of paper on the desk. "I carry it with me," he said. "What does it say?" Elijah asked. Harold kept his eyes on the window. "It says, 'My mother would have wanted you to know that she remembered you too. She used to talk about the boy who came every day and never once asked for anything. She said she always hoped he was okay. She said she was sure he would be." Elijah sat with that for a moment. "She was sure," he said, "even though she never found out." "She didn't need to find out," Harold said. "She already knew what kind of boy he was. She watched him pick up every apple. She didn't make lunch for the boy she saw. She made lunch for the man she knew he was going to be." He paused. "You don't have to know you're doing it for it to matter. The hard part is you never know which Tuesday it will be. So you show up every Tuesday, and you carry your own groceries, and you hope." Elijah looked at the envelope on the desk, then back at Harold. "My mom does that," he said. Harold said nothing, but he nodded. Once, slowly. The way people nod when someone says something so true, there is no point in adding to it. I need to know what you think. Comment below. Would you have called that number? Alone, hungry, 11 days. A billionaire stranger slips you a card. Do you call? Yes or no, tell me below. I read every single one. Elijah understood now. He understood what Harold had recognized on that corner. He understood what the torn bag had actually been. Not an accident. 70 years of someone showing up every Tuesday until the Tuesday that was his. Now he picked up the envelope from the desk, his mother's handwriting, and for the first time in 11 days, he was ready to read it. He opened it slowly. His mother's handwriting filled one side of a piece of notebook paper. It said, Eli, if you are reading this, it means something happened and I am not there. I need you to know three things. First, you are not alone. Mrs. Patterson has this letter and she will help you. Second, whatever you are feeling right now is okay. All of it. Third, we stay together. That means even when I am not right there. That means even when you have to be brave in ways that feel too big. We stay together across whatever distance there is between us until I can get back to you. I will get back to you. I always do. I love you more than any word I know. Mom. Elijah read it twice. He folded it carefully. He looked up at Harold. She always does, he said. Yes, Harold said. She does. They drove to Columbus that afternoon. Harold drove himself, a dark blue Volvo, 12 years old, a crack in the passenger mirror, heat that worked better on the left than the right, 243 miles of Ohio Highway, I-71 South. They did not talk much. Harold parked in the visitor lot on 10th Avenue at 447. He turned off the engine. Room 4 North, bed 2, he said. This part is yours. Elijah walked through the automatic doors. He did not look back. He counted the room numbers in the 4th floor hallway. He stopped outside 4 North. He pushed open the door. His mother was in the bed by the window. She was smaller than he remembered. Or maybe he was bigger. She turned her head. She said his name. Not the way the nurse had said it. The way only one person in the world says it. He sat in the chair beside the bed. He took her hand. Tell me everything, she said. So he did. He told her about the stairwell, the Salvation Army on Carnegie, the library, the bag on the sidewalk, Anna's, the bread, Harold. She listened to all of it. When he finished, she was quiet. Then she said, You did good, Eli. He said, You would have figured it out too. She said, I know, but you figured it out first. Outside the window, the Columbus sky was going dark, the way Ohio skies go dark in November. Early, gray, the kind of cold that settles in and stays. But inside the room it was warm, and Diane Monroe was holding her son's hand, and her son was holding hers, and they had figured it out, together, the way they always did. In the parking lot on 10th Avenue, Harold sat in the Volvo for a long time after Elijah went through the automatic doors. Just Harold and the cracked mirror, and 72 years of Tuesdays building toward one particular November, when a boy caught a bag, and everything that came after. Before this story ends, subscribe if you have not already, and share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Not tomorrow, today. Is there a hungry person in your life right now? Not for food necessarily, but for being seen? And are you walking past them the way Harold once almost walked past Mrs. Kowalski's apples? Or are you picking up the bag? The smallest decision, to carry a stranger's bag instead of walking past can rewrite everything that comes after. It just takes 3 seconds and hands that are willing to move. If you know someone carrying something alone right now, share this story with them. Not because it will fix anything, but because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is let someone know you see them. That is all Harold did on a Tuesday in East Cleveland, and it changed everything. The next story on this channel is already waiting for you. Click the video on your screen. It is about a man who kept a light on every single night for 18 years, and the woman who finally asked him why. You are not ready for what he tells her.